Okay, so this is just the second part of the video. The second part of the audio. The leadership program is just a continuation from the previous one that we had. So stay plugged in and listen. Okay.
On leaders is there can be no halfway leaders. Now listen to this. A lot of you, think you're going to apply some of these techniques, and yes, if you apply some of them, you will see some results. But the bottom line is that a guy is either a leader or he ain't a leader. And if you are a leader, that's when people will follow you, and that's when you'll start having this huge amount of success. You have to understand, if you apply 90% of what I'm teaching here, you're not going to get 90% results. You will do a heck of a lot better than you are right now. But you won't see the spectacular results unless you do that extra 10%. And you're a leader 100% of the way. Do you understand that concept? You see, if you do 90% of the things that I teach you, you will be better than you are now. Maybe you'll go up 10-fold or 20-fold or 30-fold from where you are now, and that's good. But if you are 100% in what I'm teaching, you will go up 1,000 or 10,000-fold. There's a huge increase in just that little extra effort. That's the difference. It's like a horse race. A guy loses by a nose, 1 inch, but the winner gets $1 million. The second place horse gets 10,000. Do you understand? It was only an inch difference, 1/10 or 1/100th of 1 second difference, but the income level is astronomical. That extra inch makes all the difference. Here's what Patton says. A general is an interesting story. A general who had been relieved came in at his own request and tried to explain why he was no good. I offered him a lesser command in another division, but he told me he needed 48 hours to consider it. I did not tell him so, but I realized that any man who could not make up his mind in less than 48 hours was not fit to command any troops in battle. The point here is not what Patton, it's not that Patton valued, snap judgments, but he believed that truly important decisions in life, those involving core values, did not require much time for thought. The answers to such issues should be second nature. It should be part of you. See, this quotation that Patton says here that I just read to you makes very clear that Patton firmly and intuitively grasped what made a good leader. And he didn't compromise in this area. You need to have some core values in your life that when an important decision comes by, you don't waver. It's instant. It's part of you. It's exactly that's what I do. It's exactly that's what I don't do. I've seen businesses where people started evaluating things on, is this a good business decision? What about this? What about that? They forgot that they had a core value that was being broken here. And they began to think too much, and I looked at these individuals and said, none of them have great value in what they're doing. There's one couple that I know that in a business situation, they were the only people. This one couple, along with Blaine Athorn, this one couple and Blaine were the only two people that instantly and intuitively, based on their own core values, did the right thing, made an instant decision, because they were and are tremendous leaders. You can't be halfway when it comes to your principles. There's a statement that says, you'll fall for anything if you don't stand for something. And you got to make a stand sometimes in your life. You have to have some depth of conviction on some issues that you can't waver on. And that's a quality that people will admire in you. And keep in mind, if people admire the quality in you, you will admire the quality in you. And that will increase your confidence and increase your own self-esteem. Increase your own effectiveness. Next, cherish your prima donnas. Now listen to this. Patton says, in my experience, all very successful commanders are prima donnas and must be so treated. Some officers require urging. Others require suggestions. Very few have to be restrained. You see, most professionals in business or senior managers expect the people in their organization to be, quote, behave like professionals. Well, the fact is, this is an unrealistic expectation. Leaders become leaders because they are uncommon. You understand that? Leaders become leaders because they are uncommon and they know it. I remember when I was in the 9th grade in high school, St. Mary's High School, Lynn, Massachusetts, I was kicking some butt in my class. I had businesses going. I was making money. I was running around, reading books, listening to tapes. I was going to functions and seminars. I had dreams and goals. I had confidence. I was making things happen. And I knew I was better, smarter than most of the people around me, and I could win in business and in life. Where most of these people had no clue of their own abilities. They had no confidence. Didn't know what they wanted to do. Didn't have dreams or goals. They were smoking dope half the time. Getting drunk. Not me. I knew where I wanted to go, and I knew I could go there. And I had 2 teachers, Mr. Martelli, my math teacher, and another guy, my religion teacher, Mr. Lampert. And when I had them sign my yearbook, I didn't actually read what they wrote until later. And Mr. Lampert wrote, in all my experience as a teacher, which was over 20 years, I've never met a person as intelligent and with as many talents as you. And then he wrote, too bad you know that. What a slap in the face. Too bad I knew it. Too bad I knew it. And it got me thinking. I was like, what do you mean? I got confidence. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with believing in myself? And he made me feel bad. And then I flipped the page to Mr. Martelli. And he wrote, you're one of the most special and unique individuals I've had the pleasure and honor of teaching. Thank God you know that. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Martelli was a Patton man because he knew that I was uncommon and different, and he treated me like that. He let me have that power. You see, Patton always said, I'm a prima donna, and I know it. He said the thing I hate about Montgomery, who was the British commander, was he's a prima donna and he doesn't know it. And the problem was Montgomery was always too cautious in his war because he didn't realize the power that he had. He would have been even a more spectacular, more brilliant, more successful general if he had believed in his own abilities. The point here is you have to make the decision that you're going to be uncommon. No one's born uncommon. No one's born different. You make yourself that way. And when you make yourself that way, you got to start believing in yourself and having that ability. And when you find people in your organization, as you begin to grow an organization of other people, when you find one who's a prima donna, good. Treat them like that. You let them expand. You let them grow. You don't try to restrain them. Next, the image of leadership. Now listen to this. Generals must never show doubt, discouragement, or fatigue. Think about it. See, as a leader, you can't afford the luxury of revealing your feelings, particularly if they're negative, to people in your organization. Now think about it. That means you also can't do that to yourself. Patton always looked and acted the part of the confident commander. And the key word was he always said it. He was an actor. Dale Carnegie said it. You see, this stuff is not new and it's not so isolated. I can give you references from other authors, other books, even the Bible, that all this stuff I'm reading is 100% factually scientific and proven to work. Carnegie said, if you want to be enthusiastic, act like you're enthusiastic. Because if you act like you are, you will. Zig Ziglar says it. We don't sing because we're happy. We're happy because we sing. And we all know this from our own personal experience. I mean, if you played sports, you ever get to that one day where, after school you're dragging and you feel crummy and blah, and you have to go to practice and you don't want to be there, but you have to show up, otherwise you'll get kicked off the team or reprimanded, or your friends will make fun of you, so you show up and you're down and you don't want to be there and you got the blues and and you show up on the practice field and you throw your helmet on and your uniform on and you start running around the field and taking some balls and you're running around, and all of a sudden after doing it, you start feeling good because you start moving your body and you start acting the part, and all of a sudden you look the part, you act the part, and you start feeling the part. Do you understand that? You have to look the part first. You have to start speaking the part, acting the part, and then you'll feel the part. You can change your emotional state by dressing the part. I mean, in our organizations, I have people in some of my companies, organizations are all required to wear white, crisp shirts, silk ties, nice slacks, black belts, black shoes that are shined. They're required to have short haircuts. They're required to look like professionals. And guess what? They start acting like professionals. They're required to sit up straight in their chair. When somebody comes into the room, they're required to stand at attention. Someone says, my God, well, it sounds like you're running a military organization. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe it does. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, maybe I run it like a army that wins battles. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it's funny what people say. They say it sometimes out of, with some negative meaning, but they're right and it's really positive. I remember I was listening to a cassette tape by Dexter Yeager when I was a kid, like 14 years old, and I kept listening to this tape and listening to all of his tapes. My mother came down because she was upset that I was listening to all these tapes because I decided I wasn't going to go to college, and she was upset that I was listening to these successful, wealthy, happy people. And my mother came down to my room when I was listening to this tape, when everybody else would be listening to like Led Zeppelin and hard rock and Kiss and stuff, and I was listening to motivational tapes. And my mom came down and she yelled at me and she said, "You keep listening to those guys, you're going to turn out just like them." And I started laughing. I said, that's the point. That's the point. You need to have an image of leadership, not just for the other people around you that look at you, but so that you can look at yourself in the mirror. Generals must never show doubt, discouragement, or fatigue. Doubt can sink a ship. You got to be positive. You have to act the part. You have to play the role of a leader. If you do that, you'll start seeing some amazing things happen. Your confidence level will go up, and when that goes up, everything around you starts working to your advantage as if by magic. That's the point. If you do these things long enough, you'll see the results. Remember the phrase I've said for years: do the right things long enough consistently, and you'll see the results. And that's what I'm talking about. Next, Patton axiom. A commander knows. A commander knows. There's a knowingness. Now let me just read you Patton's words. I can tell a commander by the way he speaks. He does not have to swear as much as I do. A lot of people don't know that Patton swore out of control. But he has to speak so that no one will refuse to follow his order. Certain words will make you sound like a staff officer and not a commander. A good commander will never express an opinion. A commander knows. No one cares what your opinion is. Never use the words, in my opinion, I believe, I think, or I guess. And never say, I don't think. Any man who hears you speak must know what you want. Your communication must be clear. You can be wrong, but never be in doubt when you speak. Any doubt or fear in your voice, and the troops will feel it. Another thing, never give a command in a sitting position unless you are on a horse or on top of a tank. Now some of you say, wait a minute, I'm in business, I'm not a military commander. And don't make any mistake here. You need to establish authority in your directives and instructions. You need to make sure and ensure that what you want gets done. You need to examine your speech and your speech patterns. What you say, the words that come out of your mouth. Now let me explain this. Some of you are saying, Kevin, I don't have anybody to give orders to. I have no group. I have no organization. I have no staff. I don't have troops. What are you talking about? I'm talking about giving orders to yourself. Do you understand that? Remember I said at the beginning, the first person you have to lead is yourself. Command yourself. Give an order. I'm getting out of bed first thing in the morning, and I'm going to be fired up for the day. Do you know years ago, I heard Zig Ziglar say, if you want to have a great day, there's one simple thing you can do. Give yourself the order of having a great day. He says when you wake up out of bed, jump out of bed. Physically jump out of bed, throw your fist in the air, and say out loud with conviction, it's gonna be a great day. Do you know that I used to do that every single day? And let me tell you something. I used to smile every day. Do you know that I'm doing it again? See, I follow the same rules that I give you. And I happen to have seen in my own life, personally, that they work. I can tell you something else. I've also seen in my life that they don't work unless you use them. Because I've been to the tops of the mountains and I've been to the bottoms of the ocean. Some of you know, in my life, I've had great wins and devastating disasters. I've taken responsibility for them. And the most exciting thing about them is I've learned my lessons. And I'm continuing to learn lessons. I'm continuing to apply things and see results. And when I do something and I see results, I pass it on to you. When I do something and I don't see results, or if I don't do something and I see negative results, I let you know too of how powerful this stuff is. A commander knows. You need to have the proper intention when you speak the command. Conviction. Belief. The words you use, the volume of your speech, the conviction and intention behind your speech, and the body language you use. Are you moving your arms? Are you making a fist? Are you smiling when you say it? Are you using your facial expressions? Are you throwing some emotion into the words? Because if you do that, you'll start feeling different. That's the point. That's the point. Someone says, well, what if I don't know? The answer is, you need to know. Get the facts. Find out the details. Get a belief level that's based on pillars of strength, which are factual information. So when you make the statement, like I say, this business works. People are getting rich as I make this tape. I can say that with conviction because I know it to be true and can back it up with facts and will challenge anyone to come up and disprove me. And I know it. When I say I know you listening can make this business work for you, it will work for you. I can say it with conviction because I know. When I say that unless you're using the system and unless you're in this company, that there isn't an organization out there where you will develop independence and freedom in this industry. I can say that with conviction because I know the facts. And when people go and try other get-rich-quick schemes and they join other companies to make money, I know that they're doing the wrong thing. I can say it with conviction. I have not an ounce of doubt because I've investigated, I've counseled with the appropriate people, I got the facts, and I can make the statement with conviction. But you need to lead yourself first, remember. Next, the extra mile. Do more than is required of you. Think about it. What is the distance between a real leader and those who spend their lives merely following? What's the difference between wealth and mediocrity? What's the difference between somebody who works every day struggling and somebody who's financially free and independent? The extra mile. More than what you're required to do is what's required. If you have a habit of doing extra, if you have a habit of doing more than you're asked, that will make a huge difference in your life. Zig Ziglar says it. Do more than what you're paid, and soon you'll be paid more for what you do. It's going the extra effort. One more step. One more step. Do more than's required and more that's asked. On a consistent and habit basis. Make it a habit, and you'll see results. The leadership commitment. To command an army well, a general must think of nothing else. To command an army well, a general must think of nothing else. See, people who work 9-to-5 jobs, and the people that very rarely rise above mediocrity, these people have no focus on the objective. You see, I'm not saying that you have to be a workaholic, but what I am suggesting that you have to have focused commitment on this business. I listened to a tape years ago. The title was A Magnificent Obsession. And the fact of the matter is, a leader, if you really want to be successful, you're going to have a life for a period of time that's out of balance. You're going to have to be obsessed with this business for a period of time where you virtually think of nothing else, where it becomes the number one absolute priority that consumes you. Unless you do that, you'll never rise above the crowd. If you look at every great person in business, just give me a name: Donald Trump, Warren Buffett, Sam Walton, Daniel Moynihan, the guy who started Domino's Pizza, Ray Kroc, McDonald's. How about sports people? Go through the list of sports individuals. Tiger Woods. You name the golfer, you name the tennis player. Let's go through musicians. You name the musician, it doesn't matter. You name a person who is great in any area. Look at people in our business. The distributors who have succeeded beyond their wildest imaginations. Look at the people that you respect. And don't look at how they live their life today. Try to find out how they lived their life on the way to where they are today. In other words, how were they living their life when they were getting there? If you look at every person who's successful in any area of life, they all were obsessed with that objective. Virtually of nothing else. That's what they did. They They thought about it all the time. It was in their mind all the time from the moment they woke up, when they were eating lunch, when they were having dinner. Even if they were going to a movie, they still thought about the business or thought about that or thought about whatever they were excelling in. They were obsessed with it. It was a magnificent obsession. It was an obsession worth doing because the benefits are there. Now, this particular business, I can tell you that if you get obsessed with this business, it's an obsession worth having. You will achieve a level of success in your life and a freedom that you couldn't even begin to imagine. You do need to have a little bit out of balance life for a short period of time. But if you do that, it'll be like going up a mountain. It's a struggle on the way up, and it's tiring, but it's exciting because you can see the top. But I can tell you this, when you get to the top, the view is worth the effort. Victory is always worth the struggle. And then the ride down is a breeze. And if you think about your life, and you think about investing a year or two in an obsession, and then having the next 30 or 40 years where you can coast at a level that you could only dream about. That's what awaits you. That's what's available to you. That can be yours. Next, we will win. Here's Patton. We will win because we will never lose. There can never be defeat if a man refuses to accept defeat. Wars are lost in the mind before they are lost on the ground. No nation was ever defeated until the people were willing to accept defeat. Do you understand that? Success is an attitude. Success at any given moment can be measured by profit, sales figures, revenue, production numbers, whatever. But success in the long run is an attitude. It is a winning attitude that motivates success and creates results. And it's the winning attitude that sustains success. See, it's easy to know when you've won. You just declare victory. And it's just as easy to know when you're defeated. Give up. It's okay. It's okay if things don't go well all the time. Yes, in life you can expect reverses, you can expect losses, you can expect downturns, you can expect attrition, you can expect profits to fall and the numbers not to be good for this week or this month and things to not look okay. They're all inevitable. They're going to happen. But why give them the last word? Take them as bumps along the road to victory. Take them as opportunities to learn lessons. There can never be defeat if a man refuses to accept defeat. You will win because you know you will never lose. Think about it. If you have that attitude and you make that choice this very moment in time, if you say out loud these words, if you repeat after me these words, things will change. Repeat these words after me. I will win because I will never lose. Let's say it again. We'll say it together. I will win because I will never lose. Say it again with some conviction. With me. I will win because I will never lose. Good. I know you'll win too. I know you will get the victory that you want and deserve. I'll talk to you more on the next tape.